You've read the books, watched the reels, bought the planner, and still you ghost your own goals like a bad Tinder date. So I'm told. Let's be honest, consistency isn't sexy. It doesn't get applause, it doesn't go viral, and it doesn't land you on a stage. It just shows up quietly, daily, relentlessly. But in a world addicted to quick wins and highlight reels, consistency is the hidden superpower that actually moves mountains.
Got it. When's the last time you've been on a Tinder date, Bill?
Oh, that was just a week before never.
Just before never. I was saying that's when I was on one. Was just before never. I love this. I love this idea though of consistency and it like being this superpower that actually moves mountains. Like we have no ability to go out and move a mountain in a day. Like you just it's impossible. But if you went out and consistently, day in and day out, started to take buckets of dirt from a big hill and moved it over to another area, yeah, eventually you could move that whole. I mean, can't move an entire mountain because we just don't have enough days in our lives to do that. But if we lived long enough, yeah, you could actually just move that mountain through the consistency, but you can't do it in a day.
You
So
just
I think that's what we're talking about today, right?
Even with the backloader, you couldn't do it.
Nope.
Oh, excuse me, in a day. The problem that we're kind of looking at today is our culture worships hustle, highlight reels, all that kind of stuff. Oh, excuse me. But when the excitement fades, so does our effort. We jump in. We're going to do this new thing, Jamie and I. We're going to do this new thing. And it requires that you have to do it every day. It's kind of like I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Not sure how. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. But I got to go to the gym. I got to go. I have to walk 2 miles every day.
And I think,
and the whole excitement of it is just it just dies.
yeah. Well, and I think it dies for a couple of reasons. One is it's boring. Like it was exciting when I was first thinking about it. I love thinking about the idea of it, which gets me excited to go do it for the first couple of times. But then something ends up happening. Like think about the gym, right? I mean, I used to ask my when I was teaching classes all the time and training and things like that. Um, I did this a lot in a time management course, but I was like, think about I'd ask them like, raise your hand if you've ever started a new exercise program, and like, everybody raises their hand. I said, all right, now raise your hand if you've ever quit an exercise program, and everybody raises their hand. And here's the reason why is because we get excited about losing the weight, feeling better, putting on some muscle, looking better, all of that. So you get excited about it. But you go in and you do it the first day or the second day or maybe the third day, and then you go step on the scale and you actually gain weight. And
Yeah.
everything hurts. And I'm hungry. And like I have muscles hurting that I didn't even know I had. And it's like, well, it's not worth it. Like it didn't work. But we all know this. There's no hidden secret here. We all know innately, like if I was to go to the gym consistently 3 to 4 days a week and do certain exercises and I took a few less extra bites a day and I cut out one sugary drink a day and I cut out one less uh, candy bar a couple, a week or whatever it is, I know over time that scale is going to show a difference. I
Mhm.
am going to look better, feel better, and it'll happen. It's just that it hurts in the short term,
Right. It's
and you
not
have
it, it
got to power through the hurt.
it's not about being it's it's not about being consistent in as you view. I got to say this right. It's not about viewing the everyday thing. Today I got to go do this.
Yeah.
You got to view the outcome. If I do
Mm.
this every day, I know in 6 months I will. But you have to see the 6 month thing or the 1 year thing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like growing a YouTube channel. You have to be consistent for the long haul. It's not the quick thing. It's the
Yeah.
it's the person that is consistent with posting videos and posting content to a YouTube channel over a long period of time. And by that I mean 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
So,
And that's what gets the results. Uh,
yeah.
so
So you said earlier, like consistency is this, it is a superpower. Like people who can do it end up getting the results, but it's got to be the most boring superpower ever.
I can be invisible. I do that by just not showing up.
Right? But so it's like I think we live in this culture where we want to be able to like microwave everything.
Oh
We're
yeah.
just like, I want this instant result. And when I don't get it, I quit it.
So I got really frustrated with my wife. Uh, a while back, I went to a.
Me too. I mean, not your wife, my
Oh,
wife.
okay, fair. I went to a conference, and when I came back, she told me, she said something happened to the microwave. It started smoking and stuff. So I unplugged it and I grabbed it and I put it out on the back deck. And I'm thinking the back deck's wood, but that's another story. I mean, she just got it out of the house, right? She unplugged it, which was a big deal, and then she immediately went out and bought another one. And she didn't buy another micro. She bought another microwave, but she bought the cute one because it's smaller and it has half the power, half the wattage, which means, and this is tragic, it means that when I want to reheat another cup of coffee, it doesn't take me 30 seconds. It now takes me 60 seconds.
Oh, Bill.
And it's just absolute hardship. The fact that we're thinking, man, everything is so instant. I want everything so instant, and now I have to wait an extra 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I thought about exercising for an extra 30 seconds, but that thought went away real quick.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point, right? It's like we want everything so fast. And it seems like we live in this culture that um it like it glorifies like people getting this immediate success. But if you talk to the people who all of a sudden just like, when there's even a term for it, overnight success, right?
Right.
I've never heard of this person, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere. But if you ask this, whether it's movie star or music star or now social media influencers, I can't believe that's actually a thing now. But anyway, but like these people or athletes, like all of a sudden they're just this star athlete. But if you went back and you actually asked any one of them, how long did it take you to become an overnight success?
Right.
They'll tell you years.
Right.
But it was their consistency in um, becoming so good at their particular discipline, whatever that is, that they kept getting better and better and better, and their following slowly grew over time, and then word of mouth takes over, and then they finally land that big role that made them the overnight success. But they would have never landed that role had it been for all of the preparation that it took to get to that.
Right.
Um, but the same thing applies to us, right? In our daily lives. Like if I want to, you know, get in better shape, or I want to get better at my particular job, or I want to get better at my relationship with my spouse, or my neighbors, or my family, or my kids, or whatever that is, like I can't just hope it's going to happen and just be this amazing relationship or this amazing career tomorrow just
Right.
because I put in a bunch of effort today. Like I
Yeah.
have to put in, you're better to do a little bit of effort every single day
Right.
than a whole bunch of effort in one day.
Right. Now, on a on a Christian, on a spiritual level, we think that, well, I'll pray once and it'll just happen. We minimize God to microwave success, and that clearly doesn't work. I've been thinking of Daniel. Daniel. What was it? 3 times a day, he would get alone and pray, and then they threw him in the lion's den for it.
Yep.
They threw him in the just threw him in the lion's den because every day he just became consistent in praying. And it's because of his consistency in praying and giving his devotion to God that kept the lion's mouth completely shut overnight. I think the two are obviously very much related. And in the book of Daniel also, you got those 3 guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had the same habit.
Yep.
They had the same thing of praying, and because of their consistency in prayer, with those 3 guys, it was kind of like the other way around. King Nebuchadnezzar ordered everybody to when I tell the band to play. In the actual verses, it says when you hear the lyre and the lute and this and this and this, and I just call it the band. When the band plays, you were all supposed to bow down and worship this golden statue. And the ironic thing about that is he just decided on whims when the band was going to play, and he just expected everybody just to bow down and worship him. It was obviously a huge power trip. He had a 60-foot tall golden statue of himself. No ego issues there, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. But they wouldn't bow because they had the same habit that Daniel had. We pray to God. And that's it. And we do it. We do it consistently. And it's not that they look for this, absolute answer to every prayer every day, all the time. It was their daily time, their daily devotion that made them strong. It was their daily devotion. It's that time that they spent every day alone in prayer that gave them the strength to stand up when everybody else was supposed to be kneeling to this statue.
I think there's a really good correlation here, right? Is like we know if you want to have a good relationship with anybody, it doesn't matter whether it's your spouse, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, it doesn't matter. If you want to have a good relationship with them, what do you have to do with them? You have to spend time with them. I can't have a good relationship with somebody if I'm not going to spend time with them.
Exactly.
So from a spiritual perspective, if I want to have that kind of a relationship to where I know that God will close the mouth of the lion or will save me when I'm thrown in the fiery furnace, I've got to spend time with him.
Exactly.
And that's a consistency that I have to build. And you said it earlier. It's like I can't have a good relationship with God and saying, okay, well, I'm going to pray today, and then I'll do it again, in a few weeks.
Right.
Or I'm going to read my Bible today, but I'm not going to do it again. And I want to be really careful how I say this, and that is going to church once a week is very, very important. Corporate worship is important. But I can't build a relationship with Jesus and with God just going to church once a week.
Yes.
Like I can't pick up my Bible and blow the dust off of it on Sunday mornings, go to church and sing the songs and listen to the pastor and be fully in the moment and like truly enjoy it and get something from it, and then come home, put my Bible down and say, okay, I'll do it again next week.
Yeah.
Like that you're never going to build that relationship.
Right. So here's something to write down. Consistency builds trust. I don't care I don't care who it's with. Consistency builds trust. You can walk into a coffee shop for the very first time and see somebody working at the counter and say hi, and that's about the end of it. Order your coffee, and that'll be the end of it. But if you show up at that coffee shop every day, order a coffee, the next thing you know, you're talking to Marissa who does your coffee, and they walk in, they say, hey, when you walk in, they say, hey, Bill, you want your usual, and consistency builds trust.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. And it's the same with God. It's the same with others. It's the same with yourself. It's the same with your spouse. It's the same with your friends. Consistency is what builds trust. They say in the marketing world that you have to see an ad or something pop up on your social media feed. They're trying to sell you something, and you look at it the first time and you go, nah. But if you see it 7 or 8 or 10 times over the course of so many days or a couple of weeks, you start to look at it because you see it over and over and over again. And they say that consistency, if you're going to trust something, you have to see it a minimum of 7 or 8 or 9 times before you actually start to take interest
And I
in what's
think,
going on. Go ahead.
and I think in this day and age, I think it's probably even more because we're just bombarded with so much stuff.
So much
So
stuff.
it's probably more than 7 or 8. But it used to be you had to see something 7 times before you actually start to take notice of it. And I think what it does is like um, we always judge ourselves by our intent,
Hmm?
but everybody else judges us by our actions. So I have to be consistent. Like, yes, I want to build a relationship with you. That's my intent. But unless I actually do the things that prove my intent that you can actually see, my intent doesn't mean anything. So it's like that consistency builds that trust and that credibility, whether it's with your relationship with God and your spirituality, whether it's with others, whether it's with yourself, and leading a healthy life, building a healthy business, whatever that might be. And I think the key to that is you don't have to be impressive. You just have to be reliable. So people start to know what they can expect out of you.
Right, right. There's a movie, Friday Night Lights,
Yeah.
and loosely based on a story, on a true life story. But they talk about this one in the story. There's this one uh, athlete. Friday Night Lights is football in small town Texas, which is a big deal. And there was a guy there he was bound for scholarship. His name was Booby Miles. Booby Miles, and he was just a natural athlete. And one of the scenes showed him skipping, working out with the rest of the team, working out, on the weights. And one of his lines was real simple. It was the idea of he said, I don't. All I got is natural. I've got natural ability, and that's where he was leaning from. I've got natural ability. Nobody can stop Booby Miles. And what happens his senior year? He blows out his knee at the beginning of the season. Why?
Hmm.
Because he wasn't consistent in strengthening his legs. He was relying on natural ability and not consistency.
Yep.
So I kind of think about that and go, everybody hates leg day. If I don't even know what leg day is, but that's another story. But everybody hates leg day.
I don't think I have legs. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. But if you want to stay strong and be able to use the strength when you have it, you've got to build the strength.
Yeah.
Think of it this way: God moves in the mundane,
Ugh.
and
That's
the mundane is leg day, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah. That's good.
But it's
I think
small. It's Go ahead.
I think one of the other things too is also remembering that like small seeds will eventually grow really deep roots, but you got to water them, right? Like I got to consistently feed that small seed in order for it to grow those roots. I can't just like throw some grass seed out, and that's so relevant to me right now. We had our whole yard killed off and it raked out so it's nice and smooth and then reseeded. So I have to every single day I have to go out in the morning before the sun comes up or when it's still real low in the sky, and I got to water my yard for 30 minutes. So I have a sprinkler in front, I got a sprinkler in back, and of course the sprinkler can't reach the whole yard, so I have to move it 3 or 4 times in the front yard and 3 or 4 times in the backyard, and I'm tromping through the mud. So I now have what's called mud shoes and mud pants, so I can go out and move it. And then I got to walk through the house, so I have to take my shoes off and go to the backyard and then put my shoes back on and then move the sprinkler. I got to do that for 30 minutes in each place. So that's like it's like 2 hours of my life. And then you know what I get to do? I get to do it again in the evening
But
after the sun goes down.
if you want a good lawn,
But if I don't do the watering, all of those small little seeds are never going to grow the deep roots. So, I mean, it, and I'm frustrated with it. It's like it takes up so much time and I'm muddy and it just, and our dogs don't know where to go potty. And every time we let the dogs out, we got to wipe their feet now because they come in and their feet are muddy. I mean, it is the most frustrating, irritating. Like I just want it just to be over. But if I
but
don't keep doing it, we're never gonna get a lawn.
you have to look outside and envision a green lawn, a
Yes, and I
lush,
do.
beautiful green lawn. And right now you're looking out there and going, mud, sprinklers, and dirty dogs.
Yeah, we open up the windows every now and then and just yell at the yard, grow.
It's better than
So
no
they say talk to your plants, so we're talking to
talk
our
talk.
yard.
Yeah, but you have to be nice. You have to be nice to them. Uh,
Yeah, I suppose I need to change my tone a little bit.
maybe. So let's switch it back just a little bit. Think about this: spiritual warfare happens in your schedule. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't. It happens when when Satan attacks us and we jump back at him with the sword of the spirit and and all that kind of. I got my armor on and I'm just going at it. And no, the enemy isn't threatened by your dreams or your goals. He's terrified that you'll actually commit to a daily spiritual schedule.
yeah. So it goes back to what I said earlier, right? Like I can tell you what my intentions are all day long, but until I actually prove to you what my intentions are, you don't believe me. I think Satan works the same way. I can say all day long that believer in Christ and I want to have a relationship with Him and I want to help others and I want to do all these things for people and I want to build and I want to grow in my faith, and He does not care. You can say that all day long and He just okay, go ahead. But until you start doing it, that's when He takes notice, and that's when He starts to attack you.
Right. So what was that we were talking earlier? What was that quote by James Clear that's just completely relevant with this idea of consistency?
You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your
System.
system.
Right.
Yeah,
And what's a system? It's something that we do. It's something that we know how to do on a regular basis every day. In other words, if I want this to get done, I know that I have to do A, B, C, D, and E in order to get it done. That's the
yep,
system.
that's the
So
system.
so in our lives spiritually, the system needed to grow to reach our goals uh, is the daily things that we do to stay close to God. And you could even translate that: stay close to my wife, stay close to my work relationships, whatever the case may be. But it's the
Whatever it is.
consistent things. It's what other people count on you doing.
Yep.
And as Christians, sometimes we can be so random. I'm going to pray to God when I really need it. But on the days when you don't need it, we forget to pray. And, we do
Yeah,
need a holy habit.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the idea of all of this that we're talking about today is like think of your consistency, whatever that is, in whatever area of life that you are wanting to develop and grow and get better at. You've got to put in the time. And that's the real superpower. And what will happen is if you're consistent, and I used to say this, in my training classes a lot, is like consistency plus patience will get you a result. It's just you need to make sure that you're consistent with the right things.
Right.
Because if I'm consistent doing anything and I do it and I have enough and I give it enough time, I'll get a result. Absolutely. If I consistently eat potato chips and drink soda all the time, I'll get a result.
You'll get it, not the one you want.
But it may not be the one that I want. So we have to decide what it is, and that actually is the true superpower, is the ability to consistently do the right things moving you towards whatever that result is that you want.
Right. So let's anchor this. Galatians 6:9.
Mm,
Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up.
yep.
Now,
Consistent.
I see this idea of it says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good." When you spend time alone in prayer, that's doing good. It's
Yep.
not just talking about helping your neighbor with the groceries or something, or or whatever you might think. When we think about, hey, I'm doing good by helping the neighbor, or helping the community, or helping something like that. Doing good is also doing good for you.
Yeah, I think exercising on a regular basis, taking that 20-minute walk every day, that's doing good, right?
Right.
Eating the right things consistently, that's doing good. Sending out that email every day for your business, that's doing
That's
good,
good. Good.
right? Spending time in prayer every day, that's the doing good. And we said this early on, it can get weary, it can get tiring. I am sick and tired of watering the yard.
Oh,
I'm growing weary of doing good in terms of trying to get a nice lawn. But scripture tells us, do not grow weary in doing those good things. And in time, in the right season, you are going to reap.
right. Play for the
And
end game.
that's,
Play for the end game.
yep, I love it. So what's a couple things that we can encourage ourselves? Because I struggle with this, Bill. I
Right.
struggle with this.
Sure.
I talk about it a lot. But what can we encourage ourselves, but encourage anybody that's listening? What are some simple things that they could do to get more consistent?
Well, just a couple, maybe a couple questions. What's one 5-minute rhythm that you can build this week that points your heart toward God? I'll give you an example. Let's say you just walk to the front window and you're just looking outside, just checking to see who's on the street or in the neighborhood or whatever. You hear something, go outside.
My
What
grass is
you're looking at the grass, but what if Jamie? What if you every time you looked out the window, you said, I'm going to pray for my neighbor's grass, or pray for my neighbor who has such a great lawn that I don't have yet, something like that. But just kind of
pray
anchor,
for me not to be envious of my neighbor's yard.
right? But in looking out, like I've started to get in the habit of every time I talk to my neighbor, uh, neighbors to the south of us, we catch each other on the back porch and we say hi. That I actually remembered that I'm going to be praying for that person and him and his wife. They're not believers, and I need to remind myself that I need to also not just talking to them, but be praying for them. So what's a little 5-minute ritual? Is okay. Every time I step out on the back deck, I just take a minute and pray for the neighbors to the north, the neighbors to the south.
Yeah, and I like anchoring it to something. This is something that I do anyway. So now every time I do it, I want it to kind of trigger me to remember to do that habit, whatever that is, whether it's
Right,
pray for my neighbor or whatever it might be.
right,
I think something else that would really help too is think back when maybe you've not given enough credit to something that you were doing. Like you started to do something consistently, but then you gave up on it because you weren't seeing a result. Like can you go back and find that rhythm or that habit or that activity that you were doing and you gave up on it. Like you undervalued the consistency of it for whatever reason.
right, right. A lot of us kind of tag. Okay, is having a morning routine and an evening routine, and there's a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff out there that you can study and buy and read and adopt as to having like a morning habit.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying any of that's bad. I'm saying all of that is good. But just having a morning spiritual habit, and you're thinking, man, I get up in the morning. I have so much stuff I got to do to get ready to go, and just take a 5-minute rhythm. Figure out a 5-minute rhythm to stop and thank God, and then ask this question: where have you mistaken boring for pointless in your spiritual life?
I
Yeah,
like that.
and
If anybody's like struggling with but I don't even know how to start a morning routine, I would just always highly recommend a book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning.
right,
Um, and it the structure of it takes an hour, but if you don't have an hour, it also in the book it tells you how to scale it back and how you can do it in 10 minutes. And it kind of just builds on certain things, and there's a spiritual ality element to it.
Hmm.
He calls it meditation, but there's so if you're really struggling with a resource, I would highly recommend that book.
Yeah. So those are a couple things that you can do. Figure out a 5 minute rhythm. Maybe anchor it with something that you're already doing on a consistent basis. Just add something to it, and always remember the idea that what we may think is boring, it's not pointless. There's
It's
always
just kind of
there's always a reason. There's always a good reason and a good accountability to being consistent in your spiritual life.
I think just to kind of sum all of this up is like we need to get a mindset shift that recognizing boring is okay. I don't always have to be doing something exciting because it's in the boring and mundane consistency is where the real results are going to come from.
God moves in the mundane.
I like that.
That's a good.
I think it's a good place to call it quits. That right there, that's Bill.
That's Jamie.